Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. My name is Kristen Magenst and I'm your product education specialist here at TradeSmith. I work alongside Marina Stroud, your TradeSmith product education lead within our education department. I have included the webinar script as a reference within your handouts, and those of you that are registered will be emailed the webinar recording along with the script the following business day. A recorded version of this webinar will also be posted to the help menu within the TradeSmith Finance site. Once we have completed the TradeSmith Bootcamp series, we will host the beginner and intermediate bootcamp series again. The webinars are updated based on new site releases and relevant information. And just as a reminder, our bootcamps are hosted every Monday and Tuesday. I host the beginner level bootcamps every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And Marina will host her intermediate level boot camps every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time unless otherwise directed. So let's go ahead and look at today's topics. All right, so today we will explore the asset allocation and PVQ analyzer tools. As we look at the asset allocation tool, we're going to see how the tool breaks down like a pie chart that's color-coded for different sectors and industry breakdowns. And then we will look at the PVQ analyzer tool, which also has a color-coded pie chart, which will break down the portfolio risk into percentages using the PVQ analyzer tool. PVQ does stand for Portfolio Volatility Quotient. So it's the overall portfolio volatility quotient. So before we get started, let's review our usual disclaimer. The information we present today and in upcoming tutorials is intended for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors and cannot provide any individualized advice or recommendations. We are recording today's presentation, so if you do miss something, don't worry about it. You will be able to go back and rewatch it at your convenience. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So what is the asset allocation? And why is it important? So the asset allocation is the process of deciding where to put money to work in the market. It aims to balance risk and rewards to kind of be broken up into buckets so you're more like diverse. The asset allocation tool will also provide an overview of how your portfolios are diversified over different industries and sectors in the market. The asset allocation is crucial to creating and balancing your investment portfolio. So basically, by using this tool, you can avoid putting all your eggs in one basket. So what is the portfolio volatility quotient, the PVQ analyzer, and how does it help you? So the PVQ analyzer can show you how heavily invested you are in low, medium, high, and sky high risk investments based on their VQ for the overall portfolio. And again, the PVQ analyzer, even though it's doing the overall portfolio volatility of the actual portfolio, we are still breaking it down using our VQ percentages. So just as a reminder, this is how we determine our VQ's risks. Anything below 15%, we're considering low risk. 15 to 30% is medium risk. 30% to 50% is high risk, and then anything over 50% is sky high risk. So the most common way to reduce volatility is to diversify a portfolio, and we'll get all into that when we get into the tool. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and head to the website. Let me just get rid of this. All right. So I'm already logged into my TradeSmith Finance account. Just as a reminder, you will log into your account via finance.tradesmith.com, no matter which product subscription you hold with us. Also, I have access to the full suite of TradeSmith products with my Platinum subscription, so your site may look different from mine. As a result, when it comes time to consider upgrading, we think it's beneficial to show the entire suite of tools just so you can see what everything looks like to make the best informed decision if you want to upgrade. So let's go ahead and check out the help menu where you can go to access additional educational resources. So all you're going to do is just click on this green help button here. So this is where you can review all of our previously recorded TradeSmith Bootcamp webinars, and also, check out some short how-to videos that we create. So all you're going to do is just expand this TradeSmith Bootcamp and video tutorials folder. Here's where you can register for upcoming boot camps. So here's where you can access all the previously recorded beginner level boot camps up until today. And then if you want to jump to like the intermediate classes, you can review all of the ones that Marina has recorded up until last week. And then those of you that prefer shorter how-to videos, usually about 20 minutes or less, you can definitely check out the how-to video tutorials page where you can see all of those short how-to videos. And within this help menu, we are a huge proponent of continued education. So we definitely want to do everything we can, to help you along the way. So aside from all of the educational webinars and editorials, we also provide you with a complimentary 30-minute concierge service. Our concierge program will allow you to set up like a one-on-one phone appointment with a knowledgeable agent who will review your questions or provide you with a product walkthrough, or really just discuss whatever you need help with. They will help you with that. So to set up your concierge appointment, all you're going to do is just expand the contact customer success menu here, and then click on schedule a concierge appointment. All right, let me just get out of here and show our platinum members where you can go to book your concierge. Those of you that are a platinum member, you can go to your platinum dashboard by clicking on the platinum tab here. And then same process, you just click here, book an appointment. It's going to go to that same booking site for you to pick a date and time on the calendar and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the asset allocation tool. So to access the asset allocation tool, you're going to click on My Portfolios. You are then going to select asset allocation. All right, so again, think of the asset allocation tool as a tool to avoid putting all your eggs in one basket. The asset allocation tool can help you do just that by displaying your investments like distribution across both sector and industry. So in the first step, what you want to do is select a portfolio. So you just open this. And when you open that, you may notice you only see either all investment or all watch. However, you can click these little blue triangles to expand and actually select the portfolio that you want to review. I tend to like to look at the portfolios individually. I don't like to put them all together, but feel free to do whatever works best for you. So I'm going to select my investment test portfolio here. And then I'll just close this. And then on step 2, you're going to specify your preferences. So you have the option to include cash, and if you want to group your positions, you can do that too. So you basically have the option to group by sectors or industries. I'm going to leave it on sector, and I'm not going to include cash. Once we're done going through like the sectors, I'll come back and show you how industry would look. So if you keep it on sector, what that is the sector refers to basically a part of the economy in which a great number of companies can be categorized. And then an economy can be broken down into about a dozen sectors, describing nearly all of the economy's business activity. There are 11 sectors of the US stock market. The stock market sectors are created by the Global Industry Classification Standard, which is the GIST, which was developed by the S&P Dow Jones. So the structure is used globally and is the basis for many mutual funds and ETFs, exchange traded funds. Then if you select industry, this is just going to refer to like the series of companies that operate in a similar business sphere. So for example, an example of industries would be like the financial sector, which can be broken down into several different industries like banks, asset management, life insurance, or brokerages. So again, I'm going to leave mine on sector. And then once you pick your choices, you are just going to select Analyze. So next, a pie chart will appear with our results. The pie chart displays which sectors or industries you are invested in. So it is important to keep in mind again that the chart can display a total of 11 S&P sector ETFs depending on your investing bucket. So let's examine my results. So it looks like a majority of my portfolio is invested in consumer discretionary stocks. So a majority of my portfolio is invested in consumer discretionary stocks, not stocks. So you can see here this blue little color corresponds with this blue piece of the pie over here. So it looks like I have approximately 46% of my portfolio that I selected is in this sector, which is consumer discretionary. Among the 11 S&P sector ETFs, I have 9 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 11 S&P sector ETFs are consumer discretionary, communication services, consumer staples, energy, financials, healthcare, industrials, materials, real estate, technology, and utilities. I did put that in your script too. Based on my results, since I have 9 out of 11, I did go through all 11 and see which ones I was missing. And it appears that I am missing the real estate and material sector. So you can see it's not listed here. If I had all 11, if I was investing in all 11 sectors, then they would all be listed here. You may not have as many as this. You may only have 4 of the 11 sectors. It all depends on what stocks make up the portfolio that you chose here. By clicking on the colors on this pie chart, you are able to see which positions are in each industry or sector, depending on if you pick sector and industry. So if I clicked on this blue part here, which is consumer discretionary, we scroll down here. You can hover over each ticker symbol here. So if you hover over this, you can see the percentage that makes up the sector. So I can hover over this, or you can hover over the bar. So you can see it's color coded. So the purple square here goes with this rectangle here. So out of this 46%, the ticker symbol AZO, which stands for AutoZone, basically makes up approximately 39% of the 46% that I have invested in this sector. Again, you can click over the green and see the next one is Tesla. So about 4% of this portfolio and vice versa. So you can hover over all of these or the ticker symbols here. If you have like, I don't have it on this example, but if you have like a see more or more here, that means there's more tickers. So you do have to expand that to see all of the tickers. You will also notice that the ticker symbols are hyperlinked. So right here, the actual tickers. So if you click on any of the ticker symbols, it will take you to the position card page. So for example, I can click on AutoZone, and we'll come back to here, AutoZone, and that's going to take me to the position card page of the actual stock. All right, so I'm going to go back. So again, you can click on any of these and see which stocks make up each sector. In your script, I did put the 11 sectors ETFs, the actual symbols for the entire sector, and it will give you like a breakdown of reporting for each sector. So what we're going to do next, this does apply to those that have access to Ideas by TradeSmith or the Markets tab. I just love showing this part because when I used to do concierge and, people had like the Markets tab. So that's either like Trade 360, Ideas by TradeSmith, or if you're like a platinum member, you'll have access to the markets tab. The reason I'm gonna do it this way is because it's really easy to screen for stocks that you're missing for a sector. So let me show you how to do that. So again, I'm sorry if you don't have the markets tab, this will just take a few minutes until we get to the next tool. So before we get to the markets tab, I do want to point out the market health on the dashboard, where you can kind of see at a glance the overall health of each sector. So if you click on the dashboard here, and if you focus right here on the market health, you are able to select sectors here, and you can actually see, what sectors are in the red as a whole. So you can see that the majority of the S&P sectors, 81% of the sectors are in red. So really, the only two sectors that are not are consumer staples and energy. And again, anything blue here you can click on and it will take you to the actual sector position card page. So for example, if I clicked on energy, you're going to be taken to the energy ticker XLE. We're not going to focus too much on the position card page. Within your script, I did link a bootcamp webinar that Marina did on accessing the health of the overall markets. So please check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the markets tab. So if you click on the markets tab, then from the markets tab, click on S&P sectors here. And so the reason I go here is because you can actually screen for sectors that you're interested in to adding to your portfolio. So for example, on the previous page when I ran the asset allocation, I saw that I was invested in 9 out of 11 of the sectors. 2 of them I was not, which was real estate and what was the other one? It was real estate and let me go back up. Materials, I believe. Yeah, so I did not have any stocks in the real estate sector or materials sector. So what I can do, if you have access to the markets tab, I can come to markets, click on S&P sectors. Now, once you click on the S&P sectors, it does list them like in tile view. I prefer to list them in list view. So I'm just going to come over here and click on list. Once you do your preference, if either tile or list, you can go down and see which sector you're missing. So for example, I am going to take a look at real estate. So I can come here. I can either click on real estate in blue. So all of these are clickable. I can click on the real estate in blue, or you can scroll down and find real estate. So if I click on real estate, it's going to scroll down to real estate. In this lesson, again, I'm not going to cover the charts here either or the indicators. For a detailed overview, please check out Marina's lesson on the health of the markets, and I did include that. So what you can do is you can find the sector that you maybe want to add to your portfolio to be a little more diverse. So I clicked on real estate. I can then click over here. You see these binoculars. So what these binoculars are is basically a shortcut to the screener tool. So say that I wanted to screen stocks that are in the real estate in the green health zone. Because obviously for my investing style, I don't want to screen the 80% of stocks that are in the red. So if I click on this green binocular here, it's going to take you right to the screener tool. So then what I can do is just hit run screener. And then what I can do, it's not much results, but there are some. I can review all of these stocks that came back that are in the green health zone that maybe I want to get into to add the real estate bucket to my portfolio. All right, let's go back to the asset allocation tool so I can just show you what the pie chart would look like if you selected industry versus sector on step 2. So I'm going to go back to my portfolios, asset allocation. I'm going to select my test investment portfolio. And you can also run your watch list through here too. So those of you that have portfolios that you're watching, feel free to run them right through here to see maybe what you're missing and add that to your watch and keep watching it. For now, I'm just going to do my test investment. So for here, instead of me, if I didn't want to put it on sector, you can choose industry here, select analyze. And then as you can see, again, the term industry is just the series of companies that operate in similar businesses, and it's going to give you the example of the industries here. So for example, this blue is specialty retail. If I click on that, I can see what ticker symbols are considered specialty retail, which is AutoZone. If I clicked on this green to see what stocks in my portfolio are considered oil, gas, and consumable fuels, obviously I can see that Chevron is, Marathon Oil, and I forget what PSX is, but you get it. So it just breaks down into what industry. All right. Before we get to the PVQ analyzer tool, you can also view the sector allocation and industry allocation on the portfolio analyzer tool. So that's something new. Everybody that has access to portfolios should have access to the portfolio analyzer tool. So if you click on my portfolios or scroll up, I'm already on there. I'm referring to this analyze portfolio. Again, what you see here is subject to your subscriptions. You can scroll down and see the sector allocation here and the industry allocation, and you can view more on each page. We are not going to go over the Analyze Portfolio tool because next week I'm actually going to do a lesson dedicated to this new tool for all of you. We're going to go through every single tab. Since it is a new tool that we are offering, a lot of you do not know how to use it. So we will cover that next week. All right, now let's go ahead and switch gears and we're going to explore the PVQ Analyzer tool. So again, you're still going to be in My Portfolios. So think of My Portfolios, the tools that you need for your existing portfolios or any portfolio you've made on our site, whether it's a manual portfolio, a synced portfolio, a watch-only portfolio here. All the tools that pertain to portfolios, you're going to find under My Portfolios. Then any tools that you are looking to use to maybe buy stocks or research stocks, that's going to be under Invest. So if you clicked on Invest, you can see that the Pure Quant tool is here because remember the Pure Quant tool is you setting up basically an optimized portfolio of potential stocks that you want to buy. The Screener tool is here where you can screen for stocks that you don't own, and then you can come to the position sizing tool to see how that would work into your portfolios and how much you would have to buy to have equal risk position sizing. So I just want to point that out. So I'm going to go back to My Portfolios because that's where we're going to find the PVQ Analyzer. So that's right here. So the PVQ, which stands for Portfolio Volatility Quotient Analyzer, shows how heavily invested you are in risky positions. So again, this is based on our volatility quotient through VQ. And just as a reminder, our VQ is as follows. So anything 15% or below, we're considering low risk. 15 to 30%, we're considering medium risk. 30 to 50%, we're considering high risk, and anything over 50% is sky high risk. So what this is going to do is the Portfolio Volatility Quotient Analyzer, it's going to show us how heavily invested you are in low, medium, high, sky high risk investments based on their VQ percent. So just as we're able to look at the VQ, on a particular stock by itself, we're actually able to analyze an entire portfolio to show you how the overall volatility looks on your overall portfolio as a whole. What we're going to do to run this PVQ analyzer is just 2 steps. It's kind of similar to the asset allocation. So step one, you're going to select your portfolio. Again, I'm going to select my test investment portfolio. Same rules. If you have portfolios you want to choose individually, make sure you hit this blue little arrow to expand. And I'm going to put that in here. You can also specify your preferences to include cash. Really, if you hit yes on include cash on here or the asset allocation, all it's going to do is just show you on the pie chart, like a slice of the pie. If you have cash in your portfolio, the amount of cash, that's all that's doing. It's not like trying to reinvest anything. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit analyze. All right, so again, a pie chart is going to appear. And here's where you can see how heavily invested you are in the different VQ ranges. You can also see your portfolio's overall risk rating. So that this portfolio that I chose, my test investment portfolio, the overall portfolio volatility is 20.36%. You can see that on my particular investment portfolio, I have 3 colors on the pie chart. You may have more colors. The reason mine is not showing that is because I don't have anything in the other like buckets. So you could have possibly 5 things here. So you can have one that says low with like blue. I don't have that. Medium, which is going to be green, high, the orange, and then the pinkish is sky high. You could also have something underneath here that is a gray box that says NA. So again, it depends on whatever portfolio you selected. And again, it can be broken into 5 different categories. I only have 3, medium, high, and sky high risk. If you notice that you do have like a gray box right here and it says NA, for example. Well, all that is it's representing positions that do not currently have a VQ. This commonly happens with like IPOs, ICOs, and options, as there isn't enough trading data to calculate the VQ yet. So to drill down into each risk category, just like the asset allocation, you can click on the color on the pie chart. So for example, if I click on this green, it looks like approximately 83% of my portfolio, I'm invested in medium risk stocks. So what I can do, if I want to see those stocks that are making up this 83%, you can just click here, scroll down. And this is what I was talking about. Like if you have the show all, you can select this to see all of the positions. So let's look at this. You can see all of the positions that are making up this 83% here. You can actually hover over each position and you can see what percentage of like the 83% is making up the 83%. So it looks like AutoZone, 39% of my portfolio is invested in AutoZone. And what I think is really neat is it shows the VQ for that individual ticker. So AutoZone has a VQ of approximately 22%, again, which is considered a medium stock, because remember the 15 to 30 is considered medium. This bar right here is going to show you the same thing. It's just your preference if you rather hover over this or this. Again, it's color coded as well. You can see UPS makes up 4.83% of the portfolio, and the individual risk for UPS is approximately 23%. So you can definitely see that they're not going to go over 30% for their individual VQ. And then again, if I select the high here, 12% of my portfolio is invested in high risk stocks. So that's anywhere from 30 to 50% individual VQ. So I can do show all. And I can see that NVIDIA takes up approximately 4% of the portfolio, and you can see the VQ is approximately 45% for that individual ticker. So that's considered a high-risk stock. So is Marathon at 49%, Amazon at 31%, and so forth. And again, you can hover over these as well. And then if I click on my sky high risk, so anything over 50% volatility, and Tesla is one of them. So Tesla has a VQ of approximately 55%. So 4% of my entire portfolio is on Tesla. So I just want to point out some things when we're talking about the PVQ analyzer tool. So remember, the portfolio risk not only considers the VQ of the individual securities, but it also considers the correlation between the securities that make up this portfolio. Specifically, we look at the individual VQs of the holdings and the price cross correlations between the holdings to determine the overall PVQ. You will typically have a higher PVQ if the holdings are correlated, meaning they move up and down together in the market. When you are diversified, you can potentially have high risk securities and still have a lower overall PVQ. What is considered low risk for the overall portfolio is a PVQ of 15% or less is going to be considered a low risk portfolio overall. So I'm about 20%. So I would say that, my overall portfolio volatility is medium. So I think anything under 20% is good. So it is all up to what you're investing in. For more information on how to reduce your risk, so say this is really high and you're invested in like high and sky high risk stocks, and maybe you want to reduce your risk, you definitely want to check out a previous recorded bootcamp I hosted on the risk rebalancer. I did include that in your script. So the PVQ analyzer and the risk rebalancer kind of goes hand in hand together. So what you could do is you could use this first, see where you're sitting at, and then go and use the risk rebalancer. Again, you have to have access to the risk rebalancer, so it is subject to your subscription level. On this as well, if you go down, you will notice that when you click on any of these colors, you can also click on the ticker symbol here, and all that's going to do is bring you to that position card page to review the position individually, like everything on that position by itself, just like the asset allocation tool. And then one last thing, you will notice on the Manage tab of the My Portfolios page, so if you were to click on My Portfolios and you see how it goes to the Manage tab, this PVQ column, that is what we just looked at here. So you can see this test investment portfolio that I just looked at. The overall portfolio volatility is that 20.36%. So we do list it here just so you can glance at it, just in case, say, you add positions to your portfolio that come over, you can see if this changes or lowers depending on what you're adding into the portfolio. And then if you want to see a breakdown of this percentage, you can click on the PVQ analyzer. So that is a wrap. I wanted to keep it simple, just going over how to use the tools. Definitely play around with these tools. My favorite is the asset allocation. I do like to see all the sectors that I'm invested in and the industries. So let's go ahead and just recap, and then I'll pull up the contact us and we'll look at some questions. So today we explore the asset allocation tool, where you can review the diversity of your portfolios within sectors or industries. We did briefly look at the Markets tab, where you can screen for possible stocks within a sector you may be missing. Again, that is subject to your subscription level if you have access to the markets and the S&P sectors and screener. We also briefly explored the PVQ analyzer. PVQ stands for Portfolio Volatility Quotient, to review the overall portfolio volatility for the entire portfolio as a whole. All right, so let me just bring up the contact us. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact our dedicated customer success team. This Tuesday, February 14th, please join Marina Stroud, your product education lead, for a live discussion on the Smart Money Indicators, which is part of the TradeSmith's Money Mover software program. We will utilize the help of the screener tool to scan for bullish and bearish money mover opportunities and incorporate additional filters to enhance our odds of success We will then analyze our top picks on the chart and review their smart money indicators. Money Movers is available to members with a Money Movers by TradeSmith subscription, or if you're a TradeSmith Platinum account member. However, all are welcome to attend. So if you are curious what Money Movers is, definitely try to attend so you can check it out. It's really neat. It is a newer software program that we have. Thank you again for joining us and letting us be a part of your educational journey. Until next time, bye for now.